Good evening to you, and thank you so much for joining us today. Yet another exciting conversation where we unpack this book that I wrote for my son, and we want to have conversation about lesson 30. Lesson 30 is about choosing a career, and that being said, I have one of my friends and one of my friends who endorsed the book, and of course I'm going to read his endorsement, and at the same time I am also going to read a part from the lesson that we are learning today and have learned so far. So I'm trying to find what Napoleon said. I'm being joined by Napoleon Nyanhi, who's at the present moment is the executive director for NAMA, and he's one of the people who endorsed the book. Napoleon said, "A deeply personal letter that has been shared publicly for the benefit of every young person. I'm 36, but I found myself marveling, learning, and shedding a tear or two. This is a mother's work of emotional art, a masterpiece." Napoleon Nyanhi is an author, MD of Ginger Apple Group, and a media and broadcasting consultant. Of course, Napoleon is here already. And today we want to send Tawanda, the one whose book was written, to lots of love and light. We want to send him plenty of love and light. And while we are doing that, teenagers go through a lot of things. And today, at a conversation that I know he needs lots of love and light, and parenting for near adults is actually extreme sport. So Napoleon is already ready to join, and I'm going to read an extract before I put him on the live about lesson 30, which is choosing a career. And it reads, "When it comes to picking a career, choose the one that you are passionate about, so much so that if no one pays you for it, you'll still be doing it. For something you enjoy, do something that you enjoy, something that will make you feel alive. I did radio part of 2017 and the whole of 2018 without being paid a cent on Capital 104 FM. I did it with all my love and without regret because radio is a part of my passion. I really enjoyed it and I loved the audience, the interaction, the conversations and the interviews, everything about it on a show called Inspired." But today is not about me. It's about, of course, Napoleon, who has been doing this country. Yeah. I'm so excited. I am excited. I've known him for so long. I sent an invite. Let me try again. I invited Napoleon. Hi, Napster. Please come. While we wait for Napoleon, I have personally known him since we were in college. We went to college together at Africa University. So maybe you want to exit and re-enter Napster. I'll go live. There you go. You should be joining now. Is it joining? What is going on? Let's try again. Can you try again, Napoleon? Can you exit and re-enter and then send the request to join? I absolutely adore Napoleon. I admire his work, his work ethic, his perseverance. Napoleon isn't able to join. I hope he tries again. Exit and re-enter. So this book, if you're looking for it, you can call me and get a copy directly for me, or you can go to Amazon Kindle and type Tendai Garwe. That's where you can find a copy of this book, a book that I wrote when I was in hospital with my recovering, and my son was being downloaded. Yes, God, it's not stuff.
Hello.
I was like, what's going on? It's refusing to join.
Yeah, I mean, no technology is engaged. You know how it goes.
How are you, though?
I'm alive and well and
You look tired.
recovering. I
I
still
can see
am.
that.
I've been trying to rest, but yeah, my one.
What are you doing? What, you still have bills to clear and funds to follow through?
No, just work, uzi life soka kana wajaira kuita basa recreate basa rekuita.
Right.
So yeah, so generally I don't really have a boss that I report to. Anonditi waite chakatiri. So basa rangu on a daily basis to create work. So now kana basa raitwa rapera manje, I can't stop creating work. Then ndingofunga na 2 am ndakufunga kuti saka chakati chida kuzoitwa. Saka rega ndida isuza. So I can't.
My concern is your wife's sex life. What happens to your wife's sex life? You're waking up at 2 a.m. to think about work.
There's no balance in the mix there somehow.
What would you say in front of the world? So Napoleon Nyanhi, people just know who you are now with the glam, the beauty, the powerhouse you are, the friend I completely adore, but they don't know your backstory. Now, that's what Sokostina does for you. We give them the backstory, and then we come to why you are the person I'm talking to about choosing a career. Well, I chose you because I know what you did. I know what you did. But I know why, and I know you're flourishing. I know what you did, but I also know you're flourishing. So tell us a lot and a bit about yourself so we love you better.
Okay. Yeah. I was born 36 years ago. I'm number 4 in a family of 6. I went to 2 primary schools, Queensdale and Hague Park, and then there's St. John's Chikwaka for my 6 years of high school. And then I went to Africa University, studied marketing. I met Sokostina at Africa University.
In your very first year.
And we've got some terrible photos that should not see the light of day.
Never.
Yeah, I'll just say Galivas and other things that used to happen back in the day in Mutare.
Please don't forget takazowana mwari isu tikaita madhikoni pamoparidza shoko. You know what I mean? Don't forget to tell them the whole story.
Yeah, I was story ndiye mafaro. And then
so you went to so I hear a whole horde of creatives went to St. John's Chikwaka. Who are some of the creatives you went to school with that are in the industry at the moment?
I went to school with George Manyaya from Potras, if you know him.
Okay.
I was in school with Hollywood Lee. She's a model designer. Went to school with Nico Abote.
Yep. Filmmaker. Excellent.
Yeah, a good friend of mine. Creatives. Vakawanda ende vari kuramba kuuya ndichatukwa.
Yeah. And Sharon Bwanya went to school with
Sharon
you as well.
Yes. We're in the same class actually.
Same class? Really?
Not from the same class actually.
Okay.
St. John's Yaga producer vanhu.
So why marketing? And then after that, you went to
I did study marketing. I actually wanted to do accounting, right?
What?
And the reason I promise you, the reason why I wanted to do accounting was because somehow, career guidance is very important generally in life, and I like that about choosing a career today because I wanted to do accounting simply because I thought in a shine, Shamisira, to be a chartered accountant. So I wanted to, do articles and Deloitte. All these things were so fancy when I was in high school. And Ningi is a chartered accountant. Ningi is doing articles. So I just thought, if I do articles, I'll be important so and so. But I was terrible at accounting, and accounting is the only C that I got at A level. you know. Uh, I had very good grades except one C in accounting. And then I went to university. I was like, accounts, it's also. I went and did
Right.
accounting. So in the faculty of business, faculty of
Of I don't know. I don't
FMA,
know. Because
faculty
of
of
my
management
faculty.
and
Yeah.
accounting. Anyway,
Yes.
in that faculty, you do the first year would be general. Everyone does the same thing, and then
Everything.
second year you start to specialize in some. So first year general, accounts. Everything else would be okay. But I still wanted to do it because for me it wasn't a shine, guys. It wasn't about those going ahead. Do I actually like it? It's only in second year when the penny dropped when I didn't make it into the accounting class, and then they put
Wow.
me to economics, and I
Uh-huh.
thought, hey, economics economics. Then I chose marketing and thought, yeah, I'm sure it's easy. I'm sure it's okay. I'll just get a degree. Only to find when I got in there that I absolutely loved marketing. If I had gone to
Wow.
be an accountant, I would have been extremely miserable. So
Wow.
yeah, I fell in love with marketing. I fell in love with what it's about, branding, advertising, creating messaging that gets people to understand products, actually researching what people want, what people like, how people behave, consumer behavior, etc. And then taking all of that, putting it into product development and coming up with all that stuff. I absolutely loved it, and I still do.
So you actually went to school for this. We thought you just, haphazardly dropped and got it
Yeah,
right. You actually did
yeah,
your 4 years with
yeah.
attachment
Yeah.
on marketing. But do people know that while you were at college, you were also a rapper?
But this is
What
wow.
happened to your rapping career? Because you were a rapper. You- What
Yeah,
happened to that?
I think every other creative at some point in their teenagehood unombofunga kuti uri rapper kana singer or something. Yeah, man, I did fancy myself a rapper at some point. Got
Uh-huh.
over that quickly. I think somewhere midway through university, and then yeah, I got into singing. Actually, joined the choir. Actually, toured with my church choir for a bit, and then I decided, I don't think I can be number one at it. So,
So wait, were you never in the Africa University choir?
oh, I was actually. I was in the
Oh,
African Youth Choir. I was in the Praise the
hey.
Lord choir. Praise the Lord choir, the rumba one, where we used to get down, the one with Congolese people. My goodness,
Oh
that choir.
my Oh my God! That choir performed way better than we did the official school choir, bruh. They had
Absolutely.
moves, their attires and outfits were way
Uh-huh.
cooler than ours. But it was
Yeah,
harder to get into Praise the Lord choir. You had to be more spiritual. You had to be like
yeah,
at some level.
kwainamatwa zvokuti bhe. However, right, kana watanga
Mm.
get down.
Right?
It was
So you've
yeah,
always been around music. Music and arts and performances
yeah,
has always been a thing for you.
absolutely.
Then you
From
went quiet. You went,
primary school.
what did you, yeah. So what did you, from primary school? What were you doing in primary school?
Primary school, funny enough, my whole life I never won a single academic prize. Zvezvokuti prize giving day, no prize kuchikoro, grade 1 to finishing university. Ndansi muri munhu wemaprize. But I won
Right.
one prize in my life. Grade
Yechi.
4, a traditional dance.
Wow.
Yeah, Bakumba ne Jerusalem.
So go gara uri munhu wemafaro. Your core business is mafaro.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So
Yeah.
after you did, now
now
what?
please go
Now
on.
what?
No,
No. Go ahead.
Nowadays I'm a conduit yekuunza mafaro kuvanhu.
Ra-
Yeah, haakufara takahenga mabhoots taakufacilitata mafaro.
Right. You are now the vehicle of happiness and entertainment for Zimbabwe at large. But before we get there, because you had a whole career path. So did you actually work in marketing before you hit the nation as Napster on radio at Star FM? Did you actually work in marketing?
So funny enough, I've never actually ever had a title or a job renowned in marketing.
Okay.
But I've always been around those circles. So my attachment, excuse me, my attachment when I was at AU was at Gary Thompson and Associates. So
Okay.
that's an
That's a good
advertising agency.
ground.
That's typical marketing. Saka
Yeah.
ndasvika ikoko ndikuti ndichaita marketing. Guess what I ended up doing?
What were you doing?
I ended up being production assistant for Money on the Box, that TV show.
No.
And so yeah, I ended up doing TV stuff.
What?
So I've always gravitated towards media, entertainment, and stuff like that. So yeah, Gary Thompson really, taught me a lot of what I know about TV production, and I started doing voiceovers there. And after GTA, I went and worked at Celebration Ministries. This is now after graduation. At Celebration, I literally just thought I want to volunteer for a year after varsity. I actually had a job offer. I was like, no, I want to go and work at church. A year of my life, and then I'll start working after that. And then that year turned into 5 years. I ended up at some point being in charge of C Media, which was the new.
But you were being paid. You're no longer volunteering, right?
I volunteered for a year, and then I got onto stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, in terms of marketing, the closest I've gotten is at some point I was in charge of product sales at church. So my book, my message, and things like that. And then yeah, I mean now I do run an advertising agency. Now I actually get to do marketing. We do marketing research. We do advertising campaigns and stuff like that. So now I actually get to do marketing. But before, or in terms of a job, I've never been in a marketing job, but I've always done marketing.
You've always been in marketing. That's what you're doing at Ginger Apple Group right now. That's what you are and making things work.
Ginger Apple Group is a content creation. It's a content company.
So which one is this media house? Like, what media house is this, Napoleon?
No, Ginger Apple is a media house. It does content creation for radio and TV. And then there's Sierra Creative. Sierra Creative is an advertising agency, which strictly does advertising, digital campaigns, etc. For corporate.
And that's yours again.
Yes. So I'm in partnership with a colleague in Sierra Creative.
All right. So then because we know you are multifaceted, because Zim Weddings is here, we know you MC, you facilitate, but this happened because you hit radio. What made you decide I'm going to go to Star FM and try it out for radio?
The story of how I got into radio is actually quite interesting, and I like that you mentioned weddings, because the first time I got my not break, but my introduction to radio was at a wedding. I was emceeing my very first wedding I ever emceed, which was I think in 2010. 2010 or 11, 2010. Yeah, 2010. So I met Tich Matthias.
Is the couple still together?
Shut, do I even? I don't know. It was
all of mine.
This was more than 10 years ago. Anyway, it was a couple from the church choir. And it was choir saka everyone contribute something. Gift. So in dance na big man. But that I any gift andokwanisa kuapa nanzota wana MC I need kuna shuktaura. You know what I mean? But I'd never emceed a wedding. So I get there. So then they said, okay, you're emceeing the ceremony, and then there's another guy who will come and MC the reception.
Right.
So I emceed the thing. I thought I sucked. I mean, this was my first time. I was just struggling. I didn't know to Aaron's marriage officer. It was just a mess.
Yeah.
and then after the ceremony, I'm walking back. I see right at the back, Teach Mataz sitting there, and is like, so I didn't know you was the one who was coming to MC the reception. I was like, oh, so here I am, starstruck. The guy's like, well done, young man. I like the way you did that. Here's my card. You should call me sometime. I'm starstruck. I'm like, what? Teach Mataz wants me to call him? Wait, what? Teach Mataz? Right?
I had the same feeling when I saw him. Yes.
So I take the business card and I never use it. I thought he's just being nice. Hey, you should call me. I'm like, what would I call Teach Mataz about? I just never called him. A year later, we meet at another function. So at this function, I was doing camera work. I was part of a video crew. And
at this function,
yeah. And then he sees me. He's like, Napoleon, right? Yeah, I was a videographer. And he's like, Napoleon, right? I'm like, wait, what? First of all, you remember
a year later.
A year later. Huh?
Damn it.
And then he's like, but when I was on phone, I'm like, shucks, so he was actually expecting a call from me? Wow. So I was like, I'm done to pay number in your foot. He gives me his number. So this time I'm like, no, I have to. So I called him.
Call him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then he's like, no, we've got a radio station that we want to start. And I think you've got a good voice for it. So come, let's do some trials. So I go and we record my voice, and then I'll go again. It's got some script. It's like, okay, so read this one, record the voice, and hey, after 6 months of just come boy, how far you
never gave up.
And there's just stories. No, I actually did give up at some point.
But wait, because that's a career path that changed your whole world. Did that ignite something when you went for these auditions and had this conversation? Did it awaken something? Did you get hungry, or you were like, doesn't matter?
It did awaken. Okay. It did awaken something, but the awakening didn't fully happen then, because after trying and following up with him for a while, I then started, people started telling me, Teach Mataz people. And then I stopped following up. And then guess what? A year later.
Right.
Another
this is 2 years later. Yeah.
This is now 2 years since I first met him. Naboita 6 months ndichita back and forth ndichienda kunoita tuma recording and then he calls me.
Right.
And says, what happened? I'm like, takatoita auditions eStar FM. I'm like, wait, what? Hey, there's a new radio station to launch on Star FM. Takatoita auditions. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, sorry, Mfanam. It so happened that I was on leave for that week. So I said to him, so he says, tatutanga training, tatutanga nasi. I'm like, ayo, so, saka alright, chinzoega, inangwa ndakuya kuma auditions, saka ndatofa, but ndripa leave this week, ndongoyo hangu training, ndongogara zvangu,
wow.
And then he's like, okay, bo, you can come. Muripapi, wangaripa FIBA in town. I get onto a combi, rush there. I get there just before the training starts. So I'm like, I know it's okay, mfana pinda garage. Ndataura na boss who was at my Tadera at the time. Ndataura na boss and you can also just learn, it's fine. Boom. I sit in there. So this was day one, right? And what I didn't know is that everyone was actually meeting for the first time. All the people who had come from the auditions, Anna Mox, Anna Patisani, Anna KVG, vese vangwari to sangana for the first time on that day. Sakata angu sangana ipapo. ini bvadera se ndagara mutraining ndikutofunga kuti ava vanhu ava at least vatone mabasa kudhara, so ini I've got nothing to lose. So I was the one who was asking all the questions, laughing. I was being rowdy. I was being rowdy. I was shout answer. You know, I was after right. Little did I know, but to scout out in front of Dianu. Antanese, Abvagupu.
Right.
And I know, Angasigo, but Angoyao. Oh, now they start to look into who I am. The voiceover history comes, all this history and all of that. They're like, okay, let's see. On the last day of the training, they're like, now we're going to have the final audition. I'm like, there's a final audition?
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, to teach, Mkomasaka audition up and to pindere, you know, zangu training zaropera. Paroneza, because paketa process ka.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole Ningirigini panel will have to agree that
right.
And then he says, the panel said you can give it a shot. I'm like, I go in there, I give it a shot, and I made it. So
no way.
And the rest is that's how I actually got into radio. That week of training is when the passion, was ignited.
So you were willing to go to school to learn because you had found a new passion. Yeah. And you were willing to just learn anyway, regardless of whether you were going to make it or not. Your end goal wasn't end up on Star FM. It was just that but I might as well learn.
And, you know, I'll just have knowledge.
You see, a lot of young people these days, Napoleon, don't have that. They don't know when an opportunity knocks. They don't know when to create an opportunity for themselves. And they don't know when it's perfect to not be shy. Because you were not shy.
Yeah. No, I'll definitely agree to that. I wasn't. Ndakapinda hard. Ndapotsa, but ndautoya. And then I mean, this was not, I didn't like just pull up in my 323 or something. Actually, I had to go from where I stayed. Makombi was a good 3-4 Ks, and then get a combi, and then into town, and then walk famba futi kubva Copacabana kuenda ku avenues kuna 7th na Central or something. Kwangune studio yacho. So
it wasn't given to you on a silver platter, like some people who just, you know, you had to work for it.
Yeah, I mean, I did. It's. I mean, a lot of people will then look at it and say, but you hauna kuita original audition, of which it's true. I mean, the stories I've heard of the very first time the auditions happened, there were hundreds of people, and she and my levels. Unotanga umboita downstairs uzoenda upstairs kwangune vamwe and I'm like, maybe mwari akatonzvengesa ikoko because maybe ndairowa nebuka ndikatozotadza kuti kutaura anything. But I mean, when the opportunity then did come, because I didn't get that opportunity, I didn't see it on radio, I didn't see it in the newspaper, I didn't hear it on radio.
And we were deep in church, Khan. We were deep in celebration.
Wangu.
Come on, we're so drowned in there.
Yeah. So I but when the opportunity then came, when Teach then called and said, "Mfana wewe wakapotsa opportunity, they wakandifonera dai wakatopinda audition." I think then that was the turning point, because instead of wallowing in self-pity and thinking I've missed the train, I pushed back and said, I know I missed, but can I still just come and just do something in there somewhere, somehow? You have no obligation to give me a job. I think that's where.
But then when you got there again, because you didn't just happen, Napster. You, oh God, you were a hurricane. Like everybody knew about Napster, the radio master. You know, I mean, it was like it's catchy. But even I was excited to see you. and I'd known you all our adult lives. And what you got there, you didn't sit on your laurels. What made you decide I'm gonna stick out like a sore thumb?
There's a number of things. First of all, I had a pretty good foundation.
Right.
Like I said, after attachment, my first job was at Celebration Church, and that foundation was very critical in that I learned things from Pastor Tom Dushel that had, things that were beyond just the spiritual, right? Yes, you learn the Bible and all of that, which you're supposed to learn from a pastor. But I think with him, he also inculcated and instilled a different type of mindset in terms of being excellent at your work, in terms of diligence, in terms of being detailed and making sure that everything is put in place. And whenever we used to do productions, they standard, just have your ducks in a row. And I worked there for 5 years. So by the time I came out of there, and because we used to work directly with him. Yeah, on a weekly basis, you'd interact with him 2-3 times in meetings, and teaching moments and all of that. So when I got to Star FM, one of the first things I did was scan the room and figure out, what am I going to be number one at?
Come on now.
Station?
Right.
So on that man, I thought, okay, maybe I'm going to be the sexy voice guy. Wanike pana Zam, pana Mox. Zam na Mox are going to beat up a deep voice nipa chichi.
Right.
So all right, maybe I'll be the Shona guy and boys nipa gate ringa ni masasi ni chichi. Look no pindira ndo ane pana patisani na Ndumiso na Ola 7.
Jesus.
You're winning. So I actually went through about 4 or 5 months of thinking, right, pangu ni papa, because and never kuti ndingatoti ndini ndikupisa pa town apana apa was the team unondikunda until it hit me that my one advantage that I had over everyone else was that I was coming from a TV production background. I'd been working in TV production for 5 years, everything from filming, directing, scripting, editing, all of that. So I thought to myself, what if we create TV out of radio? I was seeing it Chitwanana Breakfast Club in the USA. And at that time, the station wasn't even hard and fast about social media and what's happening. So I decided, create a YouTube channel, bring a cameraman, film all the interviews that I have on my show, edit them, put them online. I think in my radio presenting career, that's the number one move that I did. That completely propelled me, because when I then did an interview with Ja Preza and I posted it, I got in my audience, and right?
Come on now.
That started watching that and thinking, what is this? Who is this? Where is this? I mean,
so when you pick a career,
interview with Toki Vibes, interview with Amara, and those would go to 100,000 views, and this is 2014. Back then. So by the time I went to visit in the UK, the people were like, plus we interview are talking. And these are people that don't necessarily listen to radio. But that is where I became number one.
So when you choose a career, it's not just about, finally I've gotten to a place. It's also about finding a niche within that career that people recognize you, acknowledge you, and then say, you know what? Mfano you ani something, man.
Yeah. It's important to stand out. It's important to find what you're really good at, and kanaona chinhu chandogona ichi ochidzidza ochikwenenzvera, and you make the most out of it. And because I mean, yeah, you know, in life there are people who are okay with being wallpaper, right? They're just there.
Of course.
Yeah, they're nice to look at. They're just there, you know. Yeah.
And then those who copy. I love that you didn't want to be anybody else. You wanted to find your own self, because there's so many people on radio who sound like somebody else. I mean, there's always been that conversation. You sound like, oh, I thought that sounded like. And there's so many people today, we are like, that sounds like. But, you know.
I don't know but we'll leave that for another day.
But
you know what? When I started on radio, I sounded like two people. I sounded like DJ Munya, because I idolized him quite a bit. I used to sit on his shows and watch him do his like every other day. So naturally, I ended up trying to sound like him. And then I also sounded like Innocent Chuma, who's the he was the person who literally trained us for the whole first year that I was on radio. So he would tell you how to say this and why didn't you do this and so people would call in and say, I'm like, I'm not.
No.
Into the Napster, the radio master. I'm just going to see you, buddy. So I was like, oh. But anyway, eventually I got into my own. So sometimes, it's okay to sound like someone else for a while, but you need to.
But you don't want to remain in anyone's shadow.
Yeah.
Find your own.
True.
Your own Mutumbi. So talk to us about endorsements, because everybody knows that radio presenters are not well paid. We know that. So we do survive on other extracurricular activities that the radio gives us a platform. So what are some of the tentacles that you got from radio, including your MC, how it blew off and you started doing presidential functions and you're all over like body lotion.
Body lotion. It's definitely an issue. Radio presenters generally in Zimbabwe and outside of Zimbabwe, unless you are an absolute breakout superstar, they don't get paid much.
Right.
However, radio is one of the best jobs you can have. Not because unowana mari from the salary. And sadly, a lot of people do get into these jobs thinking ndazoita mari manje, because aona mangona DJ achidriver motor, and you think kuti ndakubva ndaita mari because of that. It's not that simple. Back again to that issue of finding a niche and driving it so hard you become the best at that. Once you then manage to find that and you start to push that, you gain a reputation of sorts, and you start to build a following, right, of people who swear by you. That following will include certain corporates. I remember the very first time I was told, Kuti, you're doing a sponsored program. Like, you've been in radio. For radio presenters, personalities, Chinchonzi's sponsored program is a very contentious issue.
Oh my God.
It's a very contentious issue for radio personalities, because there's a possibility that you'll get either extra presenters fees for doing a specific program, or they'll end up taking you as a brand ambassador, so they pay you other retainer fees that are outside of actually your radio work. So the first time that happened, it was Innocent Chuma who actually broke the news to me and told me there's a client that is adamant that you should do their show. And you should understand, this is in the first year of being on radio, and they are gurus like Comfort Mbofana, Zam, DJ Munya, Innocent Chuma, Leander Candiero, Tich Mataz. These are people that have been doing this for years. And then to be told, but a client here insist, I could not believe it. I was like, and I at that time I only had 2 shifts. I had a shift on a Saturday morning, Yaitanga, from midnight. So midnight is after Friday.
Shift.
Yaitanga na 12 shift yo ichipera na 6 a.m. So it was a
Right.
6 hour
6 hour
shift.
shift.
Yeah. So that is Saturday morning, next Sunday morning. 6 hours, 6 hours. So to me, apana munaiterera mashoyo aya. In my mind, I thought ndikutaura nevanhu vari pama night shift, madriver emagonyeti and stuff like that. Only to find out that there's a client who was listening to me, and they were coming from Mafaro somewhere, from some
I
event.
like that.
They heard and they said, vibe. And they came and insisted.
I've tried to tell people that never downplay whatever slot yawapiwa pawaire. Do it like
Absolutely.
you're doing it for TV on radio.
Absolutely. So I said, you know, and that was ERC, Election Resource Center.
Of course, that was that whole voter registration thing was happening.
Yes, that was my very first.
And I remember, and I used to see you at a lot of at NGO functions. That's how you also broke into emceeing functions, doing road shows. Wow. But fast forward, because of course, you know, you and I would talk forever. Fast forward to the opportunity for you to have the most mad, the only job that people get mad at every year for a whole month, and write articles back and forth, like right now. You said yes to being the executive director of NAMA. What the hell were you thinking?
Yeah.
So, but then again, doing first year wakira kombi kwenda kwa na udaizwa.
How is it? In terms of my passions, it's only after I started on NAMA that I realized events have always been a passion for me.
Right.
Even when I was at Star FM, every time Papa Itwaka event committee, you know, we've got the station birthday coming, the 3rd anniversary of the station. So we need people to put together.
Not only that, you said yes to starting a whole station. You started Capi Talk. I mean, with your own phone, people should know that story. I need another interview. But you know.
Yeah, actually the station used my personal phone number for a good 2 years. 777. Number your station until, you know, I had to return it to another tool. But anyway, with NAMA, I've always loved events. I've always attended them, emceed them, filmed them. I didn't realize how much experience I had with events without actually ever being an event planner. So when the NAMA thing came, you know, just from the one meeting where it was said, so what do you think, Chichichi? Yeah, I mean, I had ideas like this, like and then.
So wait, did they wait? You know, we don't doubt your brilliance. I want to know, did they scout you, or you went all by yourself looking for abuse, all by yourself, or they scouted you?
No, they scouted. They headhunted.
So now you moved from the guy who pursues opportunity, and now you are the opportunity. Ha! My God. Hey.
I like the sound of that.
You are the opportunity. And you have not disappointed year after year, Napoleon. You are dropping. You know, the other legalities of, you forgot to so and you saw. People can only say that because they had something to watch. Now, I should be the first to tell you that you have not disappointed.
Thank you.
You have changed the game. Chichinja Napster, the entertainment master. Just call yourself that. Well done, amazing. Your NAMA 2020, 2020, 2019, 2020, all these NAMAs that you've done have been absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Absolutely amazing. And what next? Because look at where you are. What next?
Well, I think
Not about Nama, but
next,
you, Mr. Opportunity Guy. You.
Next, pakudiwa million anditika ndoriri next.
Right.
After that topinda mubhiriyona.
So because you've made it to 40 under 40, we've been together on that 100 list. I don't know why they bumped me off it, because I had the accident, then they bumped me off the 100 most influential. Anyway,
very discriminatory.
But you are an influential person, Napoleon. So it won't be hard for you to make your millions, because a million is for you to influence a millionaire to sign that check.
You know, funny enough, I do think I've got $1 million ideas, and sometimes I actually get to do the things. My only problem is I am a the word philanthropist is used very, very loosely a lot. But I'm that person who will do something because I feel it in my heart. And I feel it's an important thing. And then someone comes without even, thinking twice. They're like, you also not pan a big year. I'm like, oh, really? So all this time? Yeah, like what happened with the radio presenter masterclass. It's something that I simply started out of passion, out of thinking, that the way I got into radio was because I knew someone, not because I get a man or anything, but pani munhu andaitoziva akaito chido chekundifonera kuti wazviruza kuno and
wait. Allow me, can my old deaconess with the prophetic gift had come on so that it's recorded on this live? Since you are a guy who is called and located, look at what you're doing with Nama. Pana chakufonera anemita anokuti uyaunditire maawards angu, uyaunditire events yangu. Alright, chuya uite Coachella yacho kana uya uite like, because kana ku South Africa kunogona kunzi uya uchiite, because that's the type of person you are. You're a person who doesn't do things in half measures. You don't do them because who's watching. You don't do them because of, I know it's how people feel. It's also where we came from. Celebration didn't care how you feel. Just do the work of God, my guy. But I think you are closer to your million today. You're closer to your million today than you were yesterday. Today. And don't stop, Napoleon.
I agree.
Your standards are amazing. Your standards are amazing. They are not easy to match. And I'm excited about people like you in the industry. I'm excited about you being a content creator, responsible for advertising and visibility. For Zimbabwe has been lagging, and you have brought us on.
Yeah, but you know what? There's a passion point for me there. When you say Zimbabwe has been lacking, it's a very true statement. And last year, a few people felt I was being too harsh. After Nama, I wrote this
like that
article, so to say. Yeah, where I was like, tapasa zvedu tagona, all right. But Teta number one muklasi yemadovu is what I said. Which was not taken very, very lightly. A lot of people are like Sauti Madovu, whatever. But I was like, you know what? We have done a good event. However, by the standards of 2020, it's not a good event.
We were behind. Absolutely.
Because generally as a country, when it comes to those things, media productions and events and things like that, tiri kunana 1990. The whole world has moved on and is doing brilliant things. Isusu tirimashure shudo. Saka kana nyika inga iri stuck muna 1992 panyaya dzema events and iwo bvaita event ya 1998. Unongova penga. But the rest of the world is 22 years ahead. you know. So I was like, it's great. We've moved forward, but what can we do to leapfrog? To jump, because my stages akawandisa atanga
You
takapotsa.
did. I mean, you did. You know, I actually think Nama 2021, your ideas were out of this world. We were right up there with Grammys. And I know people are like, kunyanya. But if I would watch Nama over and over again, the performances, the concept, everything about it was amazing, Napoleon. And you know what I also celebrate about what you told me from behind is you come from celebration, which we were both a family and a part of and still are, is we used to rehearse Christmas Foretold from October for one night only show. And Zimbabweans they're not used to that culture. They think Ndinongo Shika. Like, you know, the isong yangu dongo imba. But did you see how many months did Beyonce rehearse for Coachella? Like,
a good 6
people should
months.
go and watch that documentary. Yeah, they should watch that documentary. It's amazing. She was vomiting. She was tired. She had just given birth. She didn't stop. Yeah, but we make it's. I also think we've made our work like Asha and those people.
Exactly. You know, Zimbabweans. We've had. We've got wounds. We've had a lot of struggles in the last 20 odd years, 25 years, right? Where the economy is tough. There's this and there's that, and there's been a lot of upheaval in the last 2 decades. However, what it has done is it has made us a people of excuses, right? So we love to blame. We love to blame.
We love to blame and not work. Please.
And do nothing. Then do nothing about it. Because and you know what I mean? And yet some of these things you've got control over. I don't want to get into, political issues and stuff. But
I know.
But,
we still,
but I feel, and thank God that I also got an opportunity to get in there and actually do something, because in 2014, after coming back from the South Africa Music Awards, I wrote an article in the Herald, actually, and I was talking about the things that Zimbabwe is doing wrong when it comes to award ceremony. And one of the things I wrote in there was that it's not about money. We are lying. So because hakuna mari, saka tinongoita zviripo.
No, it's about just standards, guy.
Yeah, I was like, how is Haifa doing?
Concept, standards, and delivery.
Yeah, because Haifa was doing brilliant stuff, and Zimbabwe, and everything. So I was like, how is Haifa doing? They're well supported and well funded. Why?
Napoleon, Napoleon, before I forget, because I have to kick you off and then bring you again for another lesson. What happened to the masterclass? That was a brilliant idea.
The radio presenter masterclass is still ongoing. It's on suspension at the moment because of the COVID-19 issues.
Right.
One of the requirements of the program is that you have to be attached to a radio station at some point. So you learn how a real radio station
functions. It has to slow down because I have to teach them about being a night radio queen.
Why is here? So calm down. So they couldn't. The radio stations couldn't take them. So
yeah. No, but that was a brilliant. I mean, Napoleon, time is not enough, and like I said, thank you firstly for endorsing this book. And tonight, please do whisper a prayer for Tawanda, the one written. Thank you, Napoleon. And please do pray for him. Tawanda is going through teenage. Oh,
it's personalized. It's personalized. I don't know if you can read that. I hope you didn't write any secrets here.
No, I did.
So you were saying I should pray for Tawanda?
Pray for Tawa. Yeah, he's 17. He's going through the most that anybody could go through at 17. Yeah. And I just realized parenting a 17-year-old is extreme sport. But I'm so grateful he had uncles like you around him. So we just need to reignite the things we taught him, bring him to remembrance of the values that were installed in him. But I'm so proud of you, Napoleon. We didn't even exhaust the brilliance that you are. We didn't even exhaust the changes you're doing. And we haven't even spoken about how you're going to change the world just now in a heartbeat. Please save this life. This man is going to be called somewhere and that million will happen. That kati yangu ye professor. But wish you all the best, and we can't wait. Even I am submitting this and my volume 2 for NAMA, of course, 2022. But any last words that you want Zimbabweans to know, because we now know you better. They didn't know your story.
My last words, I'm going to take the opportunity to speak to those that can hear and say that I'm very passionate about the arts, and Zimbabwean art is really good. Right. I don't know, at some point in our culture as Zimbabweans, we became so keen on consuming foreign content. So we are okay with watching a Nigerian movie with bad audio, and we'll enjoy it. But if it's a Zimbabwean movie with bad audio, we will you know what I mean? But Nollywood has been built on those things, and it's growing. And now our Batiki, they've got millionaires as actors there. We can do the same as Zimbabweans. When it comes to music, just know that every time you listen to a Kanye West song, to a Casper Nyovest song, to a Burna Boy song, you are importing art into Zimbabwe. Importation, kuti muwane product yekoko, so it's importation. It's okay, let's import, that's fine, maybe that's what you like. However, what can we do as Zimbabweans for us to be able to make Toki Vibes exportable to Zambia and Aishan exportable to the UK? How can we get Americans to be thinking, hey, I need to get on that Holy 10 boy?
You know what I mean?
Hey, you know what I mean? What? So that's part of what we're trying to do with NAMA, to make Zimbabwean art so glossy and so attractive that foreigners will be like, eh, right?
Come on now.
Or this painter, some billionaire in Australia, they should look at it and think, oh wow, I love that sculpture. And I own a
Listen, when let me bragging rights. When I walked in Atlanta International Airport and I saw those sculptures and I heard Oliver Mtukudzi, I cried.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. But Napoleon. I'm like, and then there's this sculptor, I forgot, and I'm gonna say this on live. There's this guy called Bongo Love. You should Google him, or not Google him, you should look for him. I'll send you a link. That guy has sculptures in Colorado, the whole of Colorado, that cost an arm and a leg, Zimbabwean. It's just he just doesn't enter his thing into awards ceremonies or whatever. But this guy, Zimbabweans are doing amazing things. I saw Made in Zimbabwe just joined our live here. I love his comedy. He's so funny. He's like, like I cry. That Made thing is just so funny. And there's so many other people here, radio presenters here. And I also want to say this, Napoleon, and one thing he is good at is if he is not available, he always recommends the next best thing. And half of the money I made in 2017 and 2018 was events he couldn't attend. So all he'll say is, oh, I'm sorry I can't make it, but Soko got you. That girl got it. And it's like people are not afraid. Don't be afraid to recommend people. Yeah. Because it is a tokwana.
Very true.
But we love you, Napoleon. I love you personally. Others can have their feelings in their own lane. I love you and I celebrate you.
Love you too, Soko. Thank you.
We know that I'm glad people know you better now, where you came from, your journey. And this is like a third And I'll bring you back for another lesson. You know I'm going to bring you back for another lesson.
Of course. I'll be here for it.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Good evening. Thanks to everybody who watched this. Please, let's make Zimbabwean art trend. Let's love our own things. I know I'll force it, but hey, guys, it's for our children and our children's children. Someone needs to also buy Zimbabwean art, not us keep importing art. Anyway, that's it. Good night.
Thank you so much. There you have it, guys. And thank you for joining this live, for surviving a whole hour. That's not a joke. So until next week, please look for this book. If you're international, this is where the conversations are coming from. A Letter to My Son. You find it on Kindle, on Amazon. Just type Tendai Garwe. Or look for me on my mobile or inbox, and I'll make sure you get a copy. Good night.
Bye.